Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Diligent Pineapple 35. And this was posted on the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit and says, Am I the Arsehole Here for still getting on a flight home when my two young co-workers I was traveling with weren't at the airport yet and were obviously going to miss it. This past week I was presented with an industry award in Nashville that an agency partner nominated me for. I'm a director at my company. My company decided to send two junior level employees to the event as well because they thought it would be a good experience for them. A specialist who has been with us a little over a year, 25 female, first job out of college, and a summer intern, 21 female, rising senior. They are not on my team, report up through separate VP, and I have very limited / no interaction with them in daily work life. They were very excited to be going. This was going to be the specialist's first time on a plane, lots of team chats asking what to wear, etc. We were flying in Thursday morning and leaving Friday evening, so it was a very short trip. But I tried to share info about the event, type of attendees, award reception / presentation, Thursday night with a country western theme. Then I was speaking on a panel Friday morning. There's so much I could say, but I'll try to highlight the key points. The specialist barely made Thursday morning flight because she doesn't have a real ID and had to do some extra screening. She had no idea what a real ID was, or the basic rules of flying, liquid restrictions, etc. She was very upset they made her throw away some of her skincare that was over 3 ounces. Thursday night event was country western theme, and while the majority of people there were business casual, intern shows up in a bandana, tube top, micro skirt, cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. I pulled her aside and asked if she wanted to run upstairs and change, since it was still a business event. But she said she was fine and she thought she looked cute and on theme. After ceremony, I invite them to join me with some colleagues I knew from other companies in the hotel bar. But they tell me they want to check out Broadway. I make a face and say this would be a good networking opportunity. They make "come on mum" jokes, and so I tell them to be safe and remind them the time and location of the first session the next day. Text them around 11 PM that I hope they got back safe. No response. Went to bed, text them the next morning offering to meet them for coffee before morning sessions. No response. No idea if they actually attended any sessions or saw my panel. But I did find them in the hotel lobby afterwards looking incredibly hungover. Have about 2 hours after event is over before we need to go to the airport. I invite them to late lunch with our agency partners. They decline because they want to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Again, make a face and say, I don't know if they will have time, and I think it would be a good opportunity for them to spend time with our agency. They act like I'm the wet blanket, so I tell them I'm leaving for the airport from the hotel at 4 PM sharp, and meet me in the lobby so we can share a lift. Text them at 3:45 PM, that lift is arriving in 15 minutes, and no response. Text them that lift has arrived and I'm leaving for the airport. No response. Text them when I get to the airport and tell them security line is long. Neither had pre-check. No response. Text them when I get to the gate to please give me some sign of life. Intern sends very short response about 10 minutes later. In lift, there's traffic. Nothing else. Text them flight is starting to board. No response. Text them when I'm in my seat that boarding is about to end. No response. Doors close. They don't make it. Put my phone in airplane mode, land a couple of hours later to a barrage of texts from them. They're stranded in Nashville, don't know what to do, how to rebook, who to call for help, etc. I also have an angry voicemail from specialist mum that I abandoned her daughter in Nashville. She has never flown and has anxiety. She's having a panic attack at the airport and needs medical attention. She could be human trafficked. I call specialist and intern back, both phones ring but neither pick up. Text to see if they were able to rebook, no response. Forward them email with our business travel info with after hours contact and text them that I sent the email, no response. I texted an hour or so later to see if they were okay and no response. Did not call the mum back. Also have a text from their director. Don't know her well. Just started with company a couple of weeks ago. Ask him what's going on. I send a brief overview and screenshots of all my unanswered texts to them from earlier in the day, along with transcript of the voice message I got from the mum. She acknowledges my response, but no further dialogue. Now I get an invite for a Monday morning meeting from that director with the VP and our C-suite leader. My VP is on PTO. I feel like these are adults. I was communicative, and I'm ultimately not responsible for their decisions. But you tell me, am I the arsehole here? Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. You bent over backwards to include them. The amount of times that you tried to phone them, text them, warn them constantly. You had to basically babysit them from afar. I remember one of the last companies that I worked at, and it wasn't a professional trip, but they paid for people to go to a German Christmas market, the whole company. And, I was still on best behavior there because, you're still being watched by the company at the same time. Like on the last day for the bus, the train and the airplane to get back home, I was like setting up all sorts of alarms to make sure I was on that damn plane. And I mean, one of them, who was already clearly inexperienced in travel, already losing a bunch of her cosmetics, etc., decides to go MIA on the travel day. I mean, come on. And I'd maybe understand, one mistake here and there, but it just seems like OP was constantly phoning them, constantly sending messages that you really couldn't go wrong unless you was being purposely ignorant. And maybe one of them was having a stronger influence over the other, but still, they're both adults in the situation. Miss says, I think that OP went incredibly above and beyond here, considering that it was a work event she was receiving an award at. So to have these junior idiots causing any type of fuss really was an unnecessary hassle for her, when it should have been a personal celebration. OP says, okay, thank you so much for saying this, because I took it out of my main post, so since it was so long already. But I made a short acceptance speech after getting the award. I worked really hard on it and practiced a lot. It was only like 90 seconds, but I asked specialist and intern to film it for me because I wanted to share it with my team members who helped me with it. Left my phone with them and everything, but they forgot. And that kind of upset me. It's obviously not the end of the world, but like, come on. Commenter replies that says, so they even failed at the only job you gave them with explicit instructions. Film my speech. Official speech at official event. Definitely worth including in your bullet points. Another commenter says, you were there as their co-worker, not as their mother. Firstly, no one should be expecting you to take care of them in that way. They are adults, and even when you did offer them direction and support, they didn't have the decency to get back to you. And a call from her mum. Good Christ. I'd be prepared with documentation and also let your supervisor know. Even if they're on PTO, that is what was happening. Mac1721 says, the call from her mum is what really gets me. As an adult, I fully understand calling your mum for help when you're panicked. Like this girl stuck at the airport with no flying experience. I would 100% call my mum if I were panicking in that situation. My mum, however, would help me get my shit together and calm down and solve the problem myself. Not call another person on the business trip and yell at them for leaving me stranded. That crosses the line. Apprehensive says they seem to have mistaken a business trip for a vacation. Also, they acted irresponsibly around time, dressing, and networking possibilities. None of this is your fault. You're not their mother. You treated them like the adults they are. The fact that they didn't act like adults is not on you, not the arsehole. Rebecca says, after their behavior on this trip, I'd be surprised if they ever get a chance to go on another company-funded trip, let alone still have a job. And one more commenter says, confirming you are a female regarding the come on mum comment. This shouldn't be, but is this a gendered issue that your company sent a senior female to do work and babysit two junior females? I can understand never having flown before, but you went above and beyond to look after and help them. They aren't your direct reports, and frankly, they didn't do their job of actually benefiting from your experience and network. They took it as a chance to have a holiday. If a colleague of mine was late, I wouldn't be expected to miss my flight to help them. What you did was again above and beyond in trying to organize grown adults. Regarding the meeting, if the people in attendance can impact your performance / bonus, etc., I would strongly suggest emailing them to ask what the meeting is about and reschedule when your VP is back. If you don't want to trouble your VP, I think that is fine also. But you should be prepared to make this an uncomfortable conversation for them as to why they think it's okay to send 2 junior female employees to be babysat by another senior female employee. Would they expect this from a male colleague? My guess is probably not. Good luck and update us. Opie says thanks for this comment. I don't want to make this a gender issue, but if the meeting does turn on me on Monday, I have been trying to find a way to professionally say, if it had been male counterpart on my team who went on this trip with the same outcome, would you be having the same conversation? Interestingly, perhaps everyone on the meeting invite on Monday is a woman. My VP is male, but on PTO, so wouldn't be in attendance. Our next post was recovered from the Wayback Machine because it was removed on the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit and says, meeting over, CMO didn't join. It was other VP and director, plus the internship coordinator who is in HR. VP asked all the questions. It was over Teams, on camera, recorded, almost comically formal, like I was being deposed or something. During the meeting, was asked to recap what happened, starting from when we arrived. I was prepared, had all my key points, kept it factual on my actions, no speculation on their actions. I shared my phone screen live, went through the text messages with timestamps and the voicemail from Specialist Mum. I was asked if I had requested or encouraged Specialist to put any expenses on her P card. This question took me by surprise. I said I didn't even ask or consider that she had a P card. Beside the lift from the airport to the hotel, which I scheduled and paid for, I was never outside of the hotel/official conference activities with either Specialist or intern that would have required any sort of payment. I did say I would consider it to be her line manager's responsibility to make sure she understood our travel and expense policies prior to traveling. I was asked if at any point I had reached out to anyone at the office about anything that was transpiring, to which I said no. I certainly intended to when I returned, but we are talking about everything that happened within a 32-ish hour window. All while I was trying to focus on what I was sent there to do. Participate as a panel member at the conference, attend other presentations, take advantage of face-to-face time with our agency, and accepting my award. I said I felt it was reasonable to believe any other attendees would have expectations for participation and outcomes set by their leadership team, especially when coming from another department, where I wouldn't be knowledgeable about their goals and objectives. Similarly, if there were different expectations of me based on co-attendees, I would expect that to be clearly communicated in advance. I was not asked if I thought intern and/or specialist should receive any sort of reprimand, and I didn't feel comfortable trying to interject something like that based on the flow of conversation. I'm under the impression that they're meeting with specialist and intern separately, but my meeting was first. After the meeting, I debriefed with a trusted colleague, who shared the following from Friday water cooler chats. I definitely offended intern by pulling her aside about her outfit. She posted it to Snapchat with a caption about it, and some other interns and employees saw it. Dying to know what exactly it said, but co-worker said everyone who did see it agreed it was inappropriate for a work event. Allegedly, Specialist Mum had once called previous director, who left, director in meeting today replaced him, about Specialist working hours. It is known that several months ago Specialist was pulled off a high-profile project team. Apparently, when she was asked to put in some evening and weekend hours to meet a deadline, Mum called director and complained. I don't know if I believe this to be true, but Mum stepping in could be a pattern. What I'm hoping helps validate my testimony is separately on Friday. One of my agency partners I was with emailed my CMO about a conversation we had after the ceremony on Thursday evening with some ideas he had. Typical agency salesy stuff, but he also unknowingly corroborated my alibi on Thursday night. So that's where we're at. Last night I convinced myself this would all be a result in me receiving a big apology or acknowledgement of wrongdoing, and that I shouldn't have had to deal with this, etc. But I didn't, which makes me feel like this is a bit unresolved. I did send all my notes to my VP on Sunday, but his PTO is medical related and I know he's not able to really check in. So just keeping my head down until I hear anything else. Chris says sounds like they paid for random stuff using their company card and tried to blame you for it. I'd be shocked if they keep their jobs. MSK says thank you for this update. You won't get an apology. That's not how this works. One of the leadership may tactically acknowledge that their behavior was wrong, but your involvement in this saga is over. My prediction, this is a career-limiting event for both of them. Intern will not be receiving an offer, and Specialist will be terminated for using her P-card for unapproved items. The termination will actually be for her helicopter mother, but on paper, it'll be for expense policy violations. Shane Real says, nah, both will be fired for unprofessionalism during their trip, with the additional violation for the Specialist charging improper stuff as well. The Specialist is really screwed because she will lose out on income and benefits. The intern is probably still in college, so she can go through entry-level recruitment. But it's still going to be a pain, and it's a small world, so news of the intern's behavior will spread. The punishments they are getting match with how much both of them fucked up. Then OP comes in with what they title as their final update and says, this will be my final update. And it's probably not going to be as juicy as you want it to be, but hopefully it provides some level of closure to this whole thing. This post will still be long because I generally have a problem with brevity and have big feelings about this whole experience. Here are the things I want to say. I bolded the topic so you can choose what interests you. Was the post fake? No. I don't really understand why it was flagged, what rules I broke, etc. I did alter some details to try and protect my identity. More on that later, but feel this is a generally acceptable Reddit practice. At the point where it was taken down, it had already gone viral, so I honestly appreciated the decline in notifications. According to my DMs, many people felt entitled that I provide them with proof of authenticity. And it's like, be so for real. I'm a human looking for advice on the internet, not a gold-plated, uncirculated, oversized novelty Sacagawea quarter you buy from an infomercial in the middle of the night. If you don't like something or think it's fake or it's not bringing you joy, just scroll on. It's really easy to do. Threatening a stranger won't prove anything or make your life better. Was I actually doxxed? Yes. While I received many incorrect guesses at my true identity, there were a couple that were correct, and holy shit, that is scary. I don't know what compels a person to go to such lengths to try and figure out who a random internet poster is, but maybe don't spend your time doing that. Unless it's someone threatening to shoot up a school or bomb a concert venue, of course. Take those despicable monsters all the way down. But I'm just an elder millennial trying to navigate an imposter syndrome in corporate America, pay my bills, and generally be a good person so one day I can hopefully retire and rescue a borderline concerning number of geriatric Pomeranians. Very unworthy of your CIA caliber sleuthing. Please make friendship bracelets or try diamond painting as a relaxing hobby instead, or just join the actual CIA and take down would-be school shooters and concert venue bombers. Has anyone from my job seen my post? Yes, in some form. More than one person, in fact. Perhaps naively, this was something I never even considered would happen. It's Reddit, it's anonymous, and everything is cycled through in about 24 hours, right? But as soon as the reaction videos started coming across my FYP, a People magazine, web article, and all the other ways, this thing took on a life of its own. Not gonna lie, I had pretty severe panic about this. Like, wow, I handled the situation best I could and came out relatively unscathed, but me seeking validation of internet strangers will be what takes me out in the end. So far I've not been reprimanded over it, but I accept whatever comes of it. Not my most professional move to air out others, not my most professional moves on the internet, and I will seek a healthier outlet in the future. Maybe I'll make friendship bracelets or try diamond painting. Will Specialist and/or intern be fired? To my knowledge, they're both still employed. Although today is the official last day for the entire summer intern cohort. I know how I would handle one of my team members if they did this, but I trust they would never, ever, ever, because they're sensible and smart and amazing and probably reading this. But for these two, it's not up to me to decide. And while I take full accountability for bringing all gestures widely this on myself, I'm at a point where I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative within my actual place of work. In conclusion, for everyone who commented and sent such nice, supportive messages, thank you, sincerely. I did get some good advice, and I'm glad I could help you temporarily escape into someone else's work drama, provide HR training material for new employees on travel policies, or maybe validate that whatever you did on your first work trip that creeps into your brain when you're trying to fall asleep at night wasn't actually that bad. I took the rest of the week off, which may seem like an overreaction. that sometimes weird stuff impacts you in ways you aren't prepared for. I'm going to use the time to rest, do a bit of reflection, and look at pictures of geriatric Pomeranians. Disastrous STOP. I never considered looking at pictures of geriatric Pomeranians to be particularly grounding, but honestly, that sounds lit. You deserve all good things. Thanks for updating. Commenter says, the doxing is wild. These interns definitely charge some sus stuff to the company. Unexpected says, if these interns don't get properly punished, then it's proof to me that they are effing somebody or are related to the right people. Zephin says, meh, it's easy for an intern to not be invited back. But in a lot of places, they'll still be paid for their 3 months, even if they murdered another employee with witnesses and were taken away in handcuffs. No company wants the reputation of not upholding their end of the intern's social contract. I'm always like, I know there's some fake posts out there, of course, and there's always going to be a couple that sneak through, but people thinking this is fake compared to some of the posts that we've seen before, I mean, it's just like wild. But what is up with the mum phoning up people all the time? It sounds like, I mean, I don't fully know, but it sounds like the mum might be an issue for that company, that she was phoning all the time about stuff. You just think, gee, bloody whiz. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. I just spotted this one on the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. It doesn't have an update as yet, but I saw the title and I was like, oh my word. It's from LonelyBig7902. And it says, am I the arsehole for refusing to let my mum wear white to my wedding, even though she claims it's her last chance to feel beautiful? I just turned 23 and I'm getting married in October. My mum and I have always had what I would refer to as a rocky relationship, especially since I got engaged. She's been oddly competitive, commenting on my body, comparing our rings like we're in a competition, saying things like, this day is as much about me as it is about you. Oh, dearie me. Anyway, I honestly thought she was joking until she showed me the dress she bought. A white, floor-length gown that looks exactly like a bridal dress. And I told her, flat out, she cannot wear that because in my opinion, it doesn't match the occasion. She got quiet, then burst into tears, saying it's her and this was an opportunity to feel beautiful before getting old, and that I'm selfish for not letting her have this one thing. I felt really bad about this, so I offered to go shopping with her to find something elegant and more appropriate. And all of a sudden, her countenance changed, and then she told me I was controlling and ungrateful. What gave me peace was that my fiancé backed me up, as did my maid of honor. Now my mum is threatening not to come to the wedding, and my aunt says that I should just let her have this to avoid drama. Oh dear, I don't think I'm wrong for drawing a line here. But now part of me wonders if I'm the arsehole. I don't understand this kind of mindset from your mum, because everyone knows that you don't wear white to a wedding unless it's agreed on for some specific reason and you're all on board with it. Everyone else knows who's going to be attending you don't wear white to the wedding, so your mum turning up in this white dress is going to have attention on her, which, you know, she may very well want, but it's not going to be the attention that she's actually craving. People aren't going to be looking at her thinking, oh, she looks so beautiful in white. They're going to be thinking, what the fuck's she doing? Maybe any kind of attention is good for her, but absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. You know, she said she's not turning up, say, absolutely, that's fine with me. But I also guarantee that's an empty threat. Even if you say that she can't wear a white dress, she's still going to want to turn up to your wedding regardless. She's still going to try and make this day about her somehow. She's already told you this day is as much about me as it is about you. Uninvite her. Simple as that. You know, I see too many of these stories where you'll resolve this issue, but in the background, she'll be planning something else to make something about her. Uninvite her. Uninvite the aunt. Fuck it. Uninvite him. Bingo Bingo says not the arsehole. Stop negotiating with her. Stop problem solving for her. Set a clear boundary and hold the line. Tell her that a guest wearing white is inappropriate and that you would have her removed from the wedding if she does so. And call her bluff. I'm sorry you're unwilling to come. I'll let the guests know why. And make sure you control the narrative. Tell the bridal party, my mum is not coming because I vetoed her wearing a white gown. If she shows up in white, please escort her back out as quietly and quickly as you can. This is her decision, not a need. Not something to discuss and negotiate. She's making a decision to disrespect you. Time for a shiny spine OP. And it's so incredibly sad. This is your daughter, and you're treating her in this way on her wedding day. Hello Reddit says, not a single mother who is mentally and emotionally stable sees her child's wedding as her last chance to feel beautiful before getting old. Stand your ground. She can either come to your wedding in an appropriate mother of the bride dress and not center herself in her emotions, or she can simply not attend. Attending your wedding in a white gown/wedding dress is not an option for her. Inform her that security will see her out if she does so. With a mother like this, you will need to have solid boundaries in place and stick to them. I'm sorry that you don't have a stable, unselfish, and kind mother in your life. Jane says you have many petty options. Arrange for all the guests to wear white. Don't tell mum. Invite people to don their wedding dresses to give everyone a chance to be pretty. Choose a non-traditional dress color. All the bride's party in white and have a pink, blush, or blue gown. Hire security, and when she tries to enter, have security politely explain she must have the wrong venue as there is a bride here already. Act shocked and surprised that she is also getting married. Invite mother-in-law to also wear a white formal gown, and act shocked when your own mother throws a fit for not being special. Hire a clumsy friend to accidentally spill blue Kool-Aid, red wine, or Mountain Dew down the back of her dress. Oops. You can get really creative here. One more comment from Good Advice Gay, who says, not the arsehole. Your mum is an egomaniac and this is a power play. She wants to hog your spotlight and thinks that because the social consequences of not having your mum at your wedding would be so great, she can leverage that as a threat to get you to bend to her will. Only you can decide if you want to call that bluff and potentially face the fallout. You certainly wouldn't be the a-hole if you did, in my opinion. But now, what would you do in this situation if you was OP? It's mad, isn't it? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me, so thank you so much for being here. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.